Okay, so welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday, middle of the week. And just the beginning of the shift in seasons, right? It's been the thought circulating in my head is that we're in that odd time where there's still snow on the ground, but we're about to hit daylight savings where we convince ourselves that the rhythm of the day has changed. Right? And we say that laughingly because it really is trying to convince ourselves that somehow things are different when all we've done is shifted our relationship, right, to the light, the way that it's happening. So the encouragement, right, is to not rush through the transition, is to not jump into that feeling that, well, there's more light, which means there should be more activity, that the weather is a little bit warmer, which means I should be doing more, or just being plain excited that you can do more and therefore ignoring the fact that we are still in that wintry energy, right? It's not done yet. So the suggestion is that we stay really present for the inner rhythms of ourselves and that we don't use the external circumstances that are changing, the transitional energy that's happening. We don't use that as a form of escape, right? As an excuse to ignore what winter asks us to do, because we'd much prefer to do what spring asks us to do, which is to start new things and get excited and go outside and do, right? So don't run away from winter. Don't run away from being in the steady, consistent place of today, this is where I am. And then when it's tomorrow, you will still say, today, this is where I am. Because the only moment that there really is this one, right? So the breath is our easiest link to that. It's a reminder of here I am, right? So come to your comfortable seat, and as you start to settle into yourself, let the eyes close and start to focus on the breath itself. Specifically, your exhales getting longer. And so it's a common meditative tool that we're asked on the exhale to bring your attention back to here and now, because the mind will continue to wander. So even when we tell ourselves that we're being very dedicated to sitting and meditating, your mind is wandering. It's fine. Your mind is talking. That's fine. But inserted into that, you can also have the experience of the exhale happens, and for an instant, you remind yourself, here I am, and you just feel. And the feeling is not pushing anything aside, but it's allowing everything that is there in that moment to be there in that moment. No attempt to reorganize it. No attempt to tell a story about it. It's in a raw, open place. And this is that transition from winter to spring, is that what happens in nature is that things become raw and open. Right? Frozen ground starts to become softer. Things begin to sprout, and the energy that it takes to sprout from what was a small container to push through into something new, it's powerful energy. Don't rush it. Long exhales. Being able to stay steady with your inner rhythms as the world outside changes is essentially what we call meditation. It's the reason why we practice, to stay steady. So build that association that when you exhale, your attention comes back to here and now. One more full breath into the top of your breath. Pause and hold. Then sip in a little bit more breath. Pause and hold. Sip in a little bit more breath. Pause. And then exhale everything out long and slow and long and slow. Keep exhaling and exhaling and exhaling and exhaling. Navel comes towards your spine. Keep exhaling. Keep exhaling. Keep exhaling until you're sure you're going to fold over onto the floor because you're exhaling. Good. And then release and inhale. And then pause at the top of that breath. Then exhale again, nice and slow. Exhaling, 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 exhaling. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Navel to spine, like you're going to fold in on yourself. Exhale everything out. Exhale, 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 pause. And then inhale, full breath in. And exhale, simply let the breath go. And bring the hands together in front of the heart, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om, deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And just seated for a moment, do a little circling of your torso. Nice big spirals. Good, kind of working from the base. Today I had a very interesting experience. It's been a long time since I've taught like a family yoga class, but I taught two this last weekend, two different families. Totally different experiences, but one of them, range of ages, the youngest was age 10 all the way up to, you know, the parents, and 3 adult boys in that group. And so it's the first time I'm meeting them. Move yourself the other way. And they're all fairly new to yoga, you know, so I was expecting there to be some form of, you know, questions or things that came up, but wasn't quite expecting one of them to hit me almost right off the bat from, so would you consider yoga escapism? Like, you're one of those, huh? Okay, here we go. Come back to stillness, please. Start to cat-cow your spine. I actually love it though, because I think we should enter into a practice like this with that level of directness, right? What are we trying to get from this? And it is true, right? So what I think is interesting is that I picked up this book that I've been reading off and on, it's Pema Chodron. And the page that I happen to be on next comes up specifically saying, many people, including longtime practitioners, use meditation as a means of escaping difficult emotions. It's like literally a day after this question's posed to me, right? It is possible to misuse the label, quote, thinking as a way of pushing negativity away. No matter how many times we've been instructed to stay open to whatever arises, we still can use meditation as repression. Transformation occurs only when we remember, breath by breath, year after year, to move toward our emotional distress without condemning or justifying our experience. Our practice is to stay with it, to experience it, to leave it as it is. So don't use your practice to escape, right? Don't use your practice to run away. You are exactly where you are, and the breath is a tool to bring you to that, not to get you out. Come back to stillness, please. Good. Unwind your legs, stretch your legs out in front of you. Right leg stays extended. Bend your left knee. Bring the bottom of the foot to the inside of the right thigh. Let the knee go wide. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. So Lisa B, switch your legs. Right leg extended, left knee bent. There you go. Little twist towards the right over that right thigh, and then bow forward, Janu Shirshasana. Good. Letting your belly twist a little bit more towards that leg. So again, you're working in that lowest area of your trunk. Nice. And of course, the answer I gave to that, to that young man, so weird that I can call any adult a young man, but he was. But the answer that I gave is that, of course, we can use yoga to escape, but that's not what it's designed for, right? That's the amazingness of our mind, is that we can use literally anything to continue to escape if that's what we want. So we practice to have the awareness of staying steady inside so that we're not escaping. We're actually getting closer to ourselves, even if that seems like we're getting closer to our own core of crazy. One more breath, holding onto your foot or your ankle or whatever part of the leg you can. Lift and lengthen your spine. So get really long and straight through your arms. Pull back on the armpits, lift your chest. Good, beautiful. And then exhale, round into your back, drop that forehead towards the shin, towards the knee. Keep that pressure on the arm. So you're still dragging back on a straight arm, but you're rounding your ribs. Good. And then slowly release, come all the way back up. Nice. And then take that left knee a little bit wider out to the side. So you're coming more towards a half straddle. Good. So you're just widening the legs a little bit. You can even slide the right leg out wider if you'd like. Good. And then turn again, one hand on either side of the right leg, twist your belly to the right over that thigh and walk yourself forward again. So it's a different angle for the trunk. Good. You can keep that block underneath the knee, Joanne, if that works for you. You can keep it there. Good. Yeah, the foot might no longer be against the thigh. That's totally fine. You just have the heel in towards the groin. Good. Watch that your right foot, though, is not falling in or out, that your toes are straight up and down. So you're drawing that right inner thigh down towards the floor to, again, keep it steady. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bring both hands to the inside of that front foot. So the right forearm is dropping towards the floor, any amount, if it can go there. And then start to turn your left rib cage so it stacks on top of your right, and take the left arm over the ear or hand behind your head. Great option too, if having the arm extended feels like it's a little too much. Good. Working through the rib cage here. Don't worry about how much you can arch your shoulders back. Instead, draw your low rib cage in. Find the place where your spine feels challenged in that. Press your seat down, but draw your ribs in. And then lean towards that right leg again. Good. So again, the idea is to move towards where there is sensation. Don't move away from sensation. Good. One more breath. Beautiful. And then come all the way back up, please. Good. Walk yourself straight ahead between the legs. So just a straightforward fold, as though your legs were in a full straddle. Just walk yourself straight forward. Good. Nice. Keeping both sit bones anchored to the floor, letting the angle of that left knee go where it needs to go. It might have to actually lift a little higher as you come forward to make space. Good. And then slowly walk yourself all the way back up. Nice job. Take both legs straight out in front of you again, straight in line with the hips. Good. Left leg stays straight. Bend your right knee. Bring the bottom of that foot to the inside of your left thigh. Let your right knee go wide. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. So check out that this first variation of Janu Shirshasana is with the hips and the legs straight ahead. So you want to make sure that you're not already on that little bit of an angle with your pelvis. So reset yourself so that your hip points are both facing straight ahead. Good. And then a little twist to the left. Bow forward over the left leg. Good. Nice, you guys. Yeah. So I tend to pay attention when the same sort of phrase is, said to me multiple times within the course of a couple of days. So don't think it's any mistake, right? That a brand new student comes into yoga saying, do you think this is escapism? And then reading the next day in a book, meditation can be used in this escapist way, and we don't even realize we're doing it. Makes me look at my own practice and say, have I been doing this? Of course I have. Have you been doing it? Of course you have. Don't worry about it. Just realize. That's the whole practice, is just realizing what you're doing. Right? And it goes on in the chapter to say that this is what we do when we start getting really skillful at just bringing ourselves back to here and now without judgment, is that it's not that those mechanisms of the mind go away, but we start to see them for what they are: defense mechanisms, habits, routines, patterns, safety measures, right? And if we can see them for what we are, then we start to see what's underneath them too, which is our fears, our desires, our compassion, our kindness, all the things that have been hiding behind that. Then maybe we like ourselves a little more because we're not just one version in our head. Deep breath, lift your spine, please. Straighten the arms, hold on to something. So again, the straight arms are so that you can pull back something solid, pull back and pull your chest forward. Long, long spine, navel in. Good. Chest up, chest up, chest up. There you go. Nice, Harriet. And then exhale, fold in, round your back, but keep the arms as straight as you can and keep that pulling back energy on your armpits. Good. You're pressing down through your seat because you're able to pull back with the arms. Awesome. And then slowly release, come all the way back up. Good, just widen the angle of your pelvis. So move the right knee back a little bit or take the left leg wider, either one or both, so that you're sitting more in a half straddle. Good. And then again, turn towards the left leg, one hand on either side of the thigh, deep breath in, and then exhale, fold forward, walking yourself straight over that leg. Good. Rooting down, especially through your right sit bone. So again, that you're getting into that low place of the trunk, because that's where the twist is coming from. And remember that you are moving towards the sensation. So don't use the pose to seek to get away from it. Really find, if I move this way, does that give me access to where I'm tight? Good. Nice, you guys. So that feeling of clarity, of being able to see very clearly what's going on, is that's that season, right? If you're a gardener, what do you do before you are in the preparation for planting things? As you look, is my ground what it needs to be? Do I have the resources that are necessary? Is it the right season, the right timing? So that when I move towards something, I'm doing it with the least amount of effort and I'm moving with nature. So you do the same thing for yourself. The period of winter turning into spring is start taking stock. Where are you right now? Both hands come inside the front foot, please. Left forearm starts to soften towards the floor any amount. Start to stack your right rib cage on top of the left. And your ribs, in theory, should be pretty much in line with that right thigh. Maybe not completely, but see if you can find that. And then right arm comes over the ear or hand behind the head. Good. So again, you're pressing down through your right sit bone so that you have this anchoring through the lower spine. And then the leaning to the left is just creating space between your ribs, creating space between the rib cage and the pelvis. Good. Throat moves back. Again, drawing the low rib cage down and in. So you challenge the place in the middle back that tends to be very tight in all of us. Good. Nice, Joanne. Nice, Nancy. Beautiful, Lisa G. Awesome. And then slowly bring yourself all the way back up. Nice job. Walk yourself straight ahead. So just turn same angle as your pelvis. Walk yourself straight ahead, forward fold. Good. So you're between the legs. There you go. And as you're walking between the legs, you're pressing down again through the backs of your thighs, through your sit bones. Awesome. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Beautiful. Bend both knees, cross the ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees. Do a little cat and cow, lifting the chest on the inhale, tail on the inhale, and then exhaling from the midpoint of your spine, drawing up into that cat position. Good. And then inhaling from that middle point, extending out into cow. Good. Keep moving. Remember, the exhales are the opportunity to bring yourself back to here and now and feel what's there without judgment. The tricky thing, because we get good at meditating, or we get practiced at meditating, and we start just expanding the great story we're telling ourselves about what goes on in our minds. We feel better about it. But better to be in your mind or get comfortable being in your mind with no story at all. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. And that's a tricky thing, right? To cultivate ground where there is nothing that you are trying to get away from. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Step that right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Take your back heel to 45 degrees. You can step that left foot a little wider to the left if you'd like. Warrior one. Inhale, both arms to the sky. Good. Bring your right hand to the outside of your right knee for a moment. Yep. And then press that inner knee wide. Good. So you're pushing against the hand, maybe even giving a little pressure on the hand back so that you feel the stability. As you push that knee wide, pull your right butt cheek, your right thigh crease back. So it's going to send your left hip spinning forward as you pull your right thigh back. There you go. Good. Now maintain that. Take your arms back up to the sky. Good. Chest up. Bend your elbows out wide, cactus arms. Bring those inner elbows slightly forward, and again, turtle into your back, round into your low rib cage so the middle back gets really full. Good. And then lift your chest from there up towards the ceiling. Let your throat fall back. Don't let your knee move away from your ankle though. Don't let your knee come away from pressing wide. Don't let your ribs flare out. Good. Stretch your arms to straight. Reach through the arms. Extend like you're going to fall into a back bend. Good. Nice, Lisa B. And then come all the way back up. Nice, Lauren. Nice, Mark. Good. Release the hands down to the floor. You guys spin your back heel up. Left hand plants right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Falling onto that left hand a little bit more. Lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back. Squeeze your right butt cheek in towards your midline. Push your left hip wide. Good. Nice, Sarah. And then release that hand down to the floor. Nice job. Swing that right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Open, open, open. Good. Squeeze your heel in towards your butt. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Yeah. And then lift that inner thigh a little higher, inner knee a little higher. That's it. Good. Point that knee towards the floor. Please take your right knee forward and wide for pigeon. Good. Sliding the left leg back. Stay vertical. You can use blocks underneath the hands if you'd like. You can use whatever you want underneath your hands, but stay vertical. Stay upright. Good. So press into that front shin. Important. Keep your foot awake in some manner. So you might have the toes pointed, you might have the toes curled back, but push into your shin. Rotate that left hip slightly forward, right low belly goes wide. Stay vertical. Lift your chest as much as you can. Breathe through your whole spine. If this was how you were taught pigeon, just this, you wouldn't complain, right? You'd just be like, this is pigeon. Maybe you'd still complain. I don't know. I probably would complain. But feel your breath here. And feel the sensations, right, that we normally rush through, try to get away from in this position. We immediately run to that forward fold. Say, get me out of this. Relax your jaw. Squeeze those legs towards each other. There's a lot of effort that goes into pigeon. So find the effort and then find yourself being soft with the effort. Nice. Good. One more deep breath. Maybe you take one hand or both away from the floor and reach to the sky. Good. Nice. Jazz hands, Mark. Good job. Heart nice and high, like you're going to fall into a back bend. Go. Yeah. Awesome, Emily. Nice, Sarah. Nice, Harriet. Nice, Nancy. Good. Release those hands down to the floor. Beautiful. Both Lisas. Nice. You guys lift that back knee up. Step back, downward facing dog. I know. I'm not going to let you fold forward in pigeon. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down to your belly. Rise up, cobra. Lift head, neck, and chest. Good. Exhale, release, press back to hands and knees and come back child's pose. I will let you have that. Good. Finding the breath in the lower spine. Letting the exhales bring you back to here and now and the sensation that is there. Sometimes we say that in meditation that we're just looking to not label the thoughts. And that's where that cue comes in, right? When you find yourself falling into the thoughts, you say, oh, I'm thinking. And then you're supposed to move yourself back to something. But instead of the moving away from the thoughts, labeling them and then saying, oh, okay, I'll push that away. The idea is, can you let your inner vision of your mind become panoramic? It's like if you were very close up to a single leaf on a tree and you are like, oh, a leaf. Instead of pushing that leaf aside, can you just move back so that you can see the entire tree? And from there, you can say, oh, a tree, and you move yourself further back, panoramic, as though you can see the roots and how the roots of that tree are connected to everything else. So the idea of meditation is you become really clear that you are interconnected. Good. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees, downward facing dog. So something else becomes available when we're not in that state of mind or that action of pushing something away, right? Good. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Good. Step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Right foot drops to 45 degrees. Right heel drops to 45 degrees. Good. You can step the foot wider to the right if necessary, and then inhale both arms up to the sky warrior one. Virabhadrasana one. Good. Outer right hip, so the back hip is spinning forward. So take that left hand to your left outer knee again. Good. And push wide. So you're pushing wide, not just with the knee, but as you push wide, feel that wideness go all the way up to your left inner thigh, your left butt cheek. It's like you're pushing your left butt cheek wide. Good. And then pull that left thigh bone back as you swing your right hip point forward. Good. And you're still widening and then pressing through the big toe mound. Nice. Now maintain that. Take both arms back up to the sky. Good. Turn your rib cage just a little bit to the left, like you're twisting just a tiny bit. Good. And then arms out wide, cactus arms. Bring your elbows slightly in, like you're hugging in, hollowing the front of your arm bones, on the front of your armpits. Draw your low rib cage in, turtle your back, almost like you're going to round forward. Good. So almost like you're coming out of the back bend entirely. Good. And then lift your chest even higher, keeping the back ribs full, and start to lean back into that version of your back bend without pushing the ribs out. Good. Stretch the arms to straight and then pull through the side body as though you're going to drop back into wheel from this position. Keep lengthening, or camel if camel is more steady in your mind. Good. And then navel to spine, come all the way back up. Nicely done. Release your hands down to the floor. Spin your back heel up. Right hand plants, left arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Lean onto that right hand more so that you can push your right hip wider, pull your left butt cheek back and in. And then throat back, chest open. Nice, Kristen. Good. Lauren, turn your pinky finger slightly forward so that you're actually rotating your hand forward. Yeah, towards your chest, so it's softer in your shoulder. That's it. Good. Release that hand down to the floor. Nice job, you guys. Swing that left leg back and up behind you, down dog split. Good. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Stack the left hip on top of the right. Squeeze your heel in. So again, you're getting the activity on your thigh and your hamstring. Squeeze in. And then lift that inner knee higher, inner thigh higher. That's it. Good. That's just made your outer hip work a little bit. Awesome. And then point the knee towards the floor. Take that left knee forward and wide. Pigeon pose, second side. Good. And remember, you are staying upright. We're pressing into the shin. I know. Sending the outer right hip forward, left low belly back and wide. Blocks under the hands are great. I'm going to encourage you, unless you absolutely find it necessary because it's painful, right? I'm using that word very specifically. If it's painful and you need a little prop underneath your left butt cheek, you can do that. But I'm watching all of you and I don't think any of you need it. So careful. I'm watching you. Just kidding. But stay upright. Find that feeling of the chest rising and rising and rising, and the front of the pelvis rising and rising and rising. Good. And get steady there. The exhale brings you back to right here and now, and don't move away from sensation, whether it is physical. Again, you can adjust. You can always flex feet, tuck back toes, squeeze the legs. There's lots of things you can do to make sensation more bearable, but watch in your mind. What's swirling around in this pose? Frustration, fear, anxiety, anger, distrust, who knows? There could be a lot going on. So feel all of that with no judgment. Right? This is really what we're here for, is to feel the depth of ourselves and not be afraid of what's in there. We only do that by practicing the being present. So let it all come up. And keep long exhales. Don't run away. Move towards sensation. And you're not here forever, so don't worry. I know you're looking at me like maybe you've been here forever. Good. Nicely done, you guys. Release the hands back to the floor. Tuck your back toes. Lift the back knee. Do not fold forward. Oh, yeah, I didn't give you the option to float your arms up. So, sorry about that. Mark's doing jazz hands for all of you. All right, lift the back knee. Step back, downward facing dog. Sorry. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down to your belly. Good. Rising up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Good. And then exhale, press back hands and knees, child's pose. Good. I know, straight to a lot of deep hip work. Very exciting. This is where I want you to be very clear that you're not running away from or rushing through the qualities that are still wintry, which is to be in that very steady place, very quiet place of taking stock. Right? What are the conditions of my life right now? What are the conditions of myself right now? And where is there room for something to grow? Not just what do I want to be there, but where is there room? Become aware. We rush that part because we think if I just keep piling the right things on in my practice, then somehow it's going to take root and be what I want it to be. Or it's going to take me somewhere other than here. And that's when yoga becomes escapism. It's when meditation becomes escape. I want to be somewhere other than here. So take one more breath where you are, using the exhale again as that cue to bring yourself to here and now. And then walk yourself all the way back up. Good. Come back, downward facing dog. Nice. Take the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, keep the knee pointing down. So don't stack the hip, keep it pointing down. And then lift that thigh a little higher, lift the knee a little higher, push that heel up towards the ceiling. Good. And then drag back on your hands, start to lift your chest forward and up like you're going to take the back of your head to your heel. And keep lifting through your thigh and squeezing your heel in like you plan to take your heel to the back of your head. Nice. Good, Lisa B. You got it. Good, you guys. Squeeze, 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 and lift your hips higher. And chest up. Beautiful. Good. And then release the upper body. Stretch that right leg straight back behind you. Good. Bring the knee forward towards your nose. Good. So you're in a one-legged plank, knee in towards your chest. And then shoot that leg out wide to the left, please, underneath your left armpit. Good. So you're on the baby toe edge of your right foot. Separate the feet as wide as you can. Drop that left heel to flat. Take your left arm up to the sky. Open the pelvis. Open your chest. Good. Push into the legs. Nice. Good. And then slowly release. Bring it all the way back to down dog split. Right leg up and back. Good. And then step the right foot between the hands. Lunge. Nice job. And then step the left foot forward, top of your mat. I know you didn't see that one coming. Take both legs to straight, forward fold. Good. And then bend your knees, take your arms up alongside your ears for a chair. So drop your hips nice and low. Good. Weight towards your heels. Beautiful. And then the weight comes into your left foot, staying low in chair. Take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Right ankle to left thigh, cross-legged chair. Good. Yeah, I know you got to push that left inner knee. Your supporting knee still has to push slightly wide. Pull your left butt cheek back and in. Yeah. Good, you guys. Nice, nice, nice. And then start to lean forward, please, taking your butt back, torso parallels the floor. I didn't say hands to the floor yet. There you go. And then bring the hands down. Nice job. Straighten that left leg, cross-legged forward fold. So the ankle is still over the thigh if you can. Good. Nice job. And then go ahead and straighten that right leg, keeping the ankle crossed. So as you straighten the right leg, cross the right ankle in front of the left. So you're in a standing forward fold with your right ankle crossed in front of your left. Good. Both feet are finding as much connection to the floor as possible. So both feet should be flat if possible. Good. A little bend to the back knee. Let your shins move forward. And then scoop your belly, push your butt up towards the sky to start to straighten the legs, turning your left hip forward as you pull your right low belly up and wide. Good. Nice, you guys. And then unwind your feet, please. Good. Both feet underneath the hips. Beautiful. Bend your knees, take your arms back up to chair. Good. Nice job. And then come all the way up to stand, please, pressing through the feet, reaching up through the chest. Beautiful. And then exhale, straight legs, forward fold. Good. Step or jump yourself back to plank. Nice. Always bonus points if you jump. Whoever's keeping track, you get bonus points. Good. Lower down slow to your belly. Good. Point the toes back behind you. Lift your hands up off the floor. So your arms are still in the traditional cobra position, but float your hands up off the floor. And then drag your wrists back in space. Good. And then start to lift up head, neck, and chest like you're pulling your chest forward between the upper arms and someone is hanging onto your elbows and pulling back. So chest lifts forward and up, but your elbows pull back, forearms pull back. Good. One more breath. Pull back on those wrists, pull back on your hands. Good. And then slowly release, please. Downward facing dog. Nice. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Good. Bend the knee, kick your heel in, keep the knee pointing down. So don't let the hip open. If anything, your heel is moving slightly towards the outer edge of your hip. Good. And then you're pressing that thigh a little higher. Press your heel up a little higher. Good. And then drag back on the hand. So you're pulling the arms up into the shoulder socket. Your chest is going to come slightly forward as you start to lift your sternum forward and the back of your heart rises up. So don't let that back bend turn into you falling towards the floor. Navel in, middle rib cage in. Push everything as high up towards the ceiling as you can. And then extend chest forward and heel in. Good. Nice. Keep pushing up through that heel. If it doesn't go high, it's never going to reach the back of your head. Good. Awesome. Good, you guys. Release the upper body. Stretch that leg straight back behind you. Down dog split. Bring the left knee forward towards your nose, armpits over your wrist. Squeeze the knee in. And then shoot it out to the right, please. Behind your right wrist. Flex that foot. You're on the baby toe edge. Good. Drop that right heel to flat. Left arm holds you, right arm to the sky. Open. Again, like you're going to fall back into wheel. So you're drawing back through the throat. You're lifting the chest up, 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 up. Hips up, up, up. Nice. Good. And then release, bringing it all the way back to down dog split. Left leg comes up and back behind you. Beautiful. And then step that foot forward between the hands. Nice. Right foot steps forward to meet it. Standing forward fold. Good. Bend both knees. Drop your hips back towards chair. Take the arms up alongside your ears. Good. Weight comes into your right foot, left ankle crosses over right thigh. If that's wrong, do the opposite leg than what you did before. I think that's correct though. Left ankle on right thigh. Right inner knee pushes wide. Right butt cheek pulls towards the midline. Nice, Ken. Just flex that foot a lot. And then you're dropping your butt back, dropping your torso parallel to the floor. Good. Keep those arms up, Lisa B. So they're really, keep your chest up a little bit more and then the arms will go with it. There you go. Good. Pause, pause, pause. Nice, Kristen. Nice, Mark. Release those hands down to the floor, please. Good. Straighten that right thigh. Ankle is still crossed. Good. Is your mind still here? Or is it off in some crazy adventure to get away? Just curious. Good. And then start to straighten that left leg, bringing the left ankle in front of the right. So you're in a cross-legged forward fold. And again, a bend to your back knee lets your shins move forward. So let that back knee bend, come out of a tight place. And then scooping your belly, press your butt towards the sky so your legs get longer and longer and longer as you drop your chest. Good, but the back knee never locks. Awesome. Good, slowly release, please. Unwinding that left leg. Good, separate your feet nice and wide on your mat. Turn your feet out 45 degrees, both feet, bend your knees, come down, squat. Good, long exhales. Here I am. And if I'm not looking to escape this moment, then in this moment I can find much more than I thought. Looking for that panoramic vision of yourself where you can see all of your anxieties, your Sometimes it's just outright said your neuroses, right? In Buddhist terms, they say, look at you're crazy. Just see the mechanisms that you work in the world through. And feel them as both the safety, this comes up in this chapter too, the safety that you have been convinced that they are, but also feel them as restriction. That as long as they are there and you rely on them, you cannot be anything else, feel anything else. It's not good or bad, it's simply what's there. One more breath. Good. And then go ahead and take the hands to the floor, straighten your legs, forward fold. Beautiful. Heel toe your feet a little closer towards each other. Step or jump yourself back to plank. Good. Lower down slow to your belly. Nice. Point the toes back behind you. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Good. Then bend your elbows just a little bit more. So if you are in a straight arm, you come down a little lower. Good. Yeah. And then let yourself move just a little bit into the twisting side to side. So lifting the right rib cage a little higher, lifting the left rib cage a little higher. Good. So keep the elbows bent. So again, the work that's happening is really in your back. So bent elbows more, Emily. Drop lower. Yep. And then twist there. There you go. Beautiful, you guys. And then slowly release all the way back down to your belly. Make a pillow with your hands if you'd like, or turn one cheek to the side. All right, we think of winter as the energy of things sleeping. Or you can think of it as things dying, either one, wherever your mind goes to. But in this period where it is winter transitioning to spring, you can think of it as that dreaming of the world that is yet to be. Things that have not yet begun. But we know in nature that it's not true that they haven't yet begun. They're just not on the surface yet. All of the work of what's happening underneath the surface has already begun. Nothing happens out of nowhere. That interconnectedness is what will pop out of the ground this spring. Didn't begin this spring. It began last fall, maybe even before that. It's been going forever. That's what we're told. It's the nature of this world, is that it's here forever. At the same time, it's impermanent because it's always changing. But here you are. Forever, eternally, this moment. So there is nowhere to escape to. And the more we use our practice to understand that, then we start to really see ourselves for what we are. Take one more breath, maybe turn your cheek to the other side if you have had it in one direction. Then you bring your forehead facing back down towards the floor. Everybody, forehead towards the floor. Take your hands back behind your head, elbows wide. Hands interlaced behind your head. Good. Lift your elbows up. Good. Elbows up, elbows up. Good. Pressing into the feet. So similar to cobra, but you're not using your hands here. So keep the legs rooted to the floor. And then keeping your gaze straight down, begin to lift up head, neck, and chest. Push the back of your head into your hands. Good. And then use that pressure to squeeze your elbows towards each other. Hollow your armpits just a little bit, pressing the head up, up, up. And feel the space behind your heart lift. And then drag the tips of your elbows down towards your hips. Good. So it's like you're squeezing your elbows down, shoulder blades down, and then lift your chest forward and up. Good. Now maintain that. Stretch your arms straight out alongside your ears. I know, don't drop the chest any. Good. Yeah, straight forward, not back, reaching forward, forward, forward. It's harder. I know. One more breath, back of your heart rises up like you're falling into a back bend from your belly. Yes. And then slowly release. Nice job, you guys. Press up to hands and knees. Child's pose. Good. Let yourself walk to the right, belly over the right thigh. Then come back to center and walk to the left, belly moving over the left thigh. Good. And then back to center, please. And downward facing dog. Good. Right leg comes up and back, down dog split. Step that foot between the hands, lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Left hand comes up to your left hip. You're going straight into Ardha Chandrasana. So sliding that right hand forward beyond the toes of the front foot. Use a block if you'd like. As you send yourself forward, don't fling yourself. So engage that right butt cheek. And as you shift your weight onto that right heel, feel that left leg like a laser beam, right? Lifting up. So it's so steady from the moment it leaves the floor. Good. And then you're stacking the left hip on top of the right, left rib cage on top of the right. Left arm to the sky when you've got it, or keep the hand at the hips. Perfect. Continue to pull that right butt cheek and thigh crease back and around. Awesome. Optional, bend your left knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, reach back for the foot or the ankle. Good. Nice. Beautiful. So Lisa G, try and stack your left hip a little bit more. Bring that heel towards the middle of your tail. Yes, you're changing the angle. So the inner thigh, inner knee lifts up a little higher. That's it, exactly. Perfect. Extend that leg back out behind you. Nice job, you guys. Good. Release that foot back down to the floor. Release the hand. Turn your left heel up. So you're coming into lunge. Inhale the arms up to the sky. So spin your back heel up. High lunge. Inhale the arms up. Good. Take your hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Deep breath in. Good. Exhale, bow forward inside that front thigh. Nice. Squeeze that right butt cheek in. Good. And then lift up to halfway again, parallel to the floor, arms still bound. Good. Send your gaze forward, step up to warrior three with the arms bound. So lift that left thigh parallel to the floor. Good. What happens here if you start to stack that left hip on top of the right, start to turn your rib cage open like you're doing a hovering Ardha Chandrasana? You're like, oh, I fall. Maybe not. Good. And then turn your hip back down towards the floor, step all the way back to high lunge, release the arms up, and then hands to the floor. If you're already on the floor, don't come back up. Just let the hands stay where they are. Good. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. I would love for you to do some what we call little donkey kicks here. So that means setting your weight towards your hand. So bringing your armpit slightly forward, look at your fingertips, draw your low belly in, and then bend both knees, and then kick your heels up towards your butt, letting your hips rise up. Good. Little donkey kicks. Yeah. So in the extreme here, this might feel like you're trying to bring your hips over your shoulders for handstand, but just for fun, think of yourself as a little donkey, right? Do your donkey kicks. Awesome. And then slowly release, come on down to your knees, please. Sit back on your heels or between your heels. Good. If you need a block between your feet, I know, Virasana. Settle. Good. Let the eyes close, come back to your breath. Feeling the exhales getting longer. Even just this is considered one of the traditional seats of meditation. So tune into where there is sensation, both the emotional sensation and the physical. A place for you to notice in the middle of your practice the story you've been telling about it. I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a terrible job. I like this today. I don't like this today. Ready for Shavasana. Exhale yourself back to here. Got news for you. I was ready for Shavasana from the moment I opened my eyes this morning. I'm there with you. Good. Bring yourself back to hands and knees, please. Then come back to downward facing dog. Nice job. Left leg comes up and back down, dog split. Good. Step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Right hand comes to your right hip. You're going straight towards Ardha Chandrasana. So you're sliding that left hand forward. Again, use a block underneath that hand if you'd like, no problem. And then again, pay attention as you start to come up onto that standing leg, that your right leg is really steady. So as it leaves the floor, you don't have to keep reorienting, right? That you're lifting through that inner thigh, stacking the right hip, right rib cage. And then you can take that right arm up to the sky if you'd like, or keep the hand at the hip. Good. Left butt cheek and thigh crease keeps pulling back and around. Nice, Ken. Good, Sarah. Good. Sarah, flex your right foot more, the foot that's in the air. Good. There you go. And then optional is to bend that right knee, kick your heel in, reach back for the foot or the ankle. Good. And then once you have that, watch that you're not pulling your foot up towards the outer edge of your hip, but you're actually drawing it more towards the middle of your right butt cheek. So your inner knee lifts a little higher, your inner thigh rotates a little more. Good. Nice, Mark. Good, Kristen. Beautiful. Slowly extend all the way back out. Nice job. Good. Step that leg all the way back to the floor. Release the right hand to the floor. Spin your back heel up. So you're sending yourself up for high lunge, and then inhale both arms up to the sky once you've set your feet. Good. Take your hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Deep breath in. And then exhale, bow forward, taking the arms up and over any amount. As your chest comes forward, your the back thigh, inner thigh has to lift up higher. Squeeze your left butt cheek in. Good. And then lift your chest up parallel to the floor. So not all the way back up, but halfway. And then send your weight forward, gaze forward, step up into warrior three. Right thigh comes parallel to the floor. Good. Watch yourself in panoramic view. One breath at a time. See what happens if you start to turn that right hip on top of the left. Good. Turning the ribs open just a little bit. It's not an easy position. I'm not pretending that it is. Nice. Good, Joanne. Good. Slowly to bring yourself back towards warrior three. Step the foot back. Really nice, Lisa G. Release both hands down up to the sky first, or release the bind, and then hands down to the floor. Good job. If your hands were already on the floor, keep them there. Nice, Lauren. Good. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Couple of donkey kicks for me. Chest forward. Take your gaze forward. Again, part of this is that drishti, is look where you are going. Good. Little kicks, both feet at the same time if you can, Kristen. So kicking both heels up towards your butt. That's it. Good. Yeah, way scarier to lift both feet at the same time. Awesome. Release the feet down to the floor. Good. Slide forward to plank. I know you wanted child's pose. Lower down to your belly. Good. Rise up cobra or upward facing dog. If your cobra is in a place where you can, start to straighten the arms. Keep pulling the chest forward, forward, forward. Press into the tops of the feet and float the shins up off the floor. Pull your navel in. So everything is like you're falling into a back bend. You're falling towards the ceiling into a back bend. That's upward facing dog. Good. And then slowly release back to your belly. Make a pillow with your hands or turn one cheek to the side and stay. Good. This feeling of being able to stay present or move towards, as Pema Chodron says, as you move towards your emotional distress. As you move towards that, what you automatically begin to cultivate is self-compassion. The ability to see yourself in that panoramic view. That what's arising in your mind didn't happen out of nowhere. It's not something innately wrong. It has a place and a purpose. It has a structure that is both safety and also restriction. And when you can see all of that, you get a little bit softer. You understand yourself a little bit better, and you start to see that there's a goodness in you, a rightness about you. We cultivate that, the ability to see ourselves clearly with less judgment. Because from there, what we can grow from within ourselves, what we can cultivate is a greater expression of that self-compassion. They call it bodhicitta, right? She says that we get to this point where we realize that bodhicitta is the underlyingness of everything, not our crazy. Crazy is not your rock bottom. You fall through your own crazy, and what you come to is bodhicitta, which is that interconnectedness, a state of complete openness without judgment. And that's where you are all the time, this breath. There's just also all that other stuff. So practice seeing yourself here and now in that panoramic view. No escaping. Take one more breath on your belly. And then slowly start to flip over onto your back. Doesn't have to be slow. It could be as fast as you want, but move onto your back. Don't rush yourself. That's my point. Good. So my suggestion here is shoulder stand. I would like you to come into shoulder stand if it is a possibility. If it is not a possibility, you can, of course, place a block underneath your sacrum, hang out in a supported bridge, or do that version of shoulder stand where the block is underneath your sacrum and your legs are up towards the sky. If you don't have a block, but still full shoulder stand is not a possibility, you can simply take your legs straight up towards the ceiling, arms up towards the ceiling. Like Sarah's using a wall, that's great too if you have a wall. But shoulder stand, so drawing the knees in towards the chest, rolling on the spine, setting your upper arms, pressing down. Good. Nice. You're rising through the core of the body, lifting long through the spine, reaching through the inner edge of the legs. Beautiful. And then keeping the right leg straight up. Again, if this is appropriate for you, take your left toes to the floor above the top of your head. So you're splitting the legs. And then once you're there, if that feels okay, let the right leg start to drop any amount towards the floor. So a bigger split. Yeah, goes the opposite direction. That's it. Good. And then bring that right leg back up to center. Bring your left leg up to center. Split the other way. Right toes come to the floor above the top of your head. And again, that might be plenty to just hang out there. Other option is to start to let your left leg lean towards the floor, away from your right foot. So it's like you're in a full Hanuman upside down. Good. And then bring that left leg back up to center, right leg back up. Beautiful. And then an option here again, right leg stays up towards the ceiling. Start to bring your left foot towards the floor again, bending the knee, arching through the lower spine as though you're going to bring that foot down to the floor into bridge. So you're not bringing the legs overhead, you're bringing them the opposite direction. Keep the hips nice and lifted. You got to press through your shoulders like you're coming into a one-legged bridge. Good. And then slowly release it. Bring it all the way back up to center. Try the other side. Again, if you're starting to feel any amount of strain in your shoulders or your neck, stop. And either come into plow or come down. So you're leaning with that right leg towards the floor, arching through the lower spine. Good, as though you're going to come into bridge. Awesome. And then bring it all the way back up. Deep breath in, slowly release, rolling down the spine, one vertebra at a time. Good. Bending the knees as your hips come low. Pause there, either knees in towards your chest or placing the feet flat. Letting yourself rest. Good. If that seemed like a lot of crazy to do up in shoulder stand, it was. These are some of the options that become available when we are able to look at what we are used to as our limitations, our boundaries, see them as safety, but also restriction. How else are you able to move? What else are you able to see, to feel, to realize? Panoramic view. Good. Begin to draw the knees in towards your chest, please. Come into happy baby, drawing the knees nice and wide, reaching for the ankles or the feet. Good. Then bring the legs back together, please, wrapping the right thigh on top of the left thigh, like you would for eagle. So right thigh on top of left. Good. Scoot your hips over to the right, drop your knees to the left. So eagle legs, the shins come together, and then drop the legs over to the left, please, for a spinal twist. If twisting with your legs wrapped this way does not feel good on the knees, then unwind the legs and just bring the left knee over, right leg straight. Or sorry, right leg over, left leg straight. Good. Beautiful. Bring yourself back to center, unwinding the legs first if that feels appropriate. Usually it does feel a little better on the lower back to unwind first. Good. Take the other leg on top, left leg on top of right. Scooting your hips over to the left, drop your knees to the right. And again, if having the legs wrapped does not feel good for the back or the knees, then left knee crosses over, right leg stays straight. Good. Nice here if you have the awareness to be able to pull the top of your left hip down towards the bottom of your mat. So actually trying to move your hip away from your ribs. That doesn't make any sense. Stay where you are. Good. And then slowly begin to unwind the legs. Come back to center, please. Good. And then planting the feet to the floor, you can either keep the knees bent here for fish pose, your final pose, either keeping the knees bent or take the legs out to straight. If your knees are staying bent, it might be worth it to come into robot arms or feel better to come into robot arms. If your legs are extended, arms can come straight as well. Another option, palms facing down, snuggle those arms up close to the ribs, and then find your way into fish. So arching from the back of the heart, rise up into that back bend. You can push through the arms if you're in robot arms, lifting so that your throat opens and the top of your head just touches down to the floor because it's the muscles of your back squeezing and lifting so much. So hips stay on the floor, whether your knees are bent or legs are straight. Good. If you have your arms straight alongside you, push into your forearms, elbows can bend, armpits up, chest up. And then if you're super comfortable here, and again, I stress that super comfortable, very little weight to no weight on your head, engage that low belly, go ahead, take the legs up at an angle away from the floor. Yep. Nice, Nancy. Good, Sarah. Beautiful. A little higher, Emily. Feet a little higher. There you go. Good. Nice, Joanne. And then slowly release, unwind everything. Beautiful. Good. Stretch your arms up over your head. And kind of like you're pushing through one side of the body, then the other. So reach through that right arm and push through that right heel, and then reach the other side like you're wiggling on your mat, one side then the other. So stretch and wiggle. Right side, then left side, pushing through the heel, pushing through the arm. Good. And then come back to stillness, pulling the knees in towards your chest, forehead up to meet your knees, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Good. And then slowly release, extending the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you. Let the head roll from side to side. Good. And then begin to set yourself into Shavasana, which means that you find that perfect placement. the best placement that you can, so that you can let go of reaching for anything outside of you and just let yourself fall into the breath. Go into that panoramic view. So set yourself up well. It's that winter energy. And let your exhales again be long and deep, and the thread that brings you back to here and now. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Letting the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. Drawing the knees in towards your chest, roll to the right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away to come back to an upright seated position. Enjoying the sound of the train. And finding yourself still with the exhale, here and now. And bring the hands together at the heart center, palm to palm. The reminder is that there is nothing to rush through here. Is that whatever is here right this moment didn't appear out of nowhere. It's been with you, will be with you. And even though the seasons are changing, the pattern, the rhythm of the outside world is changing, your reality inside is breath by breath. And it's that breath by breath reality that we're asked to keep coming back to, so that we're not using our life as a way to run away from ourselves. We're not using our practice as a way to hide. So instead, we look panoramic to see everything that's there without judgment. And I know that's tricky, but the more you start to just let there be a little bit more light, a little bit more awareness, that you see both the places where you are reaching for safety and where you're reaching for freedom. And being able to see both is an incredible thing, because that is the beginning of your freedom, as you can see where you are. So we practice that panoramic vision of ourselves, knowing that what is here right now is our interconnectedness. We are never separate from that, and we just keep working to come back and back and back and back. The exhale is powerful for that. Here I am. And I push nothing away. Not trying to escape. We'll close the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, great rest of your week till I see you again. Again, heads up, take a look. Sarah and I are teaching a workshop on the 21st on releasing pelvis. So physically, emotionally, if you have interest in that, take a look. Details are on the website. If you have questions for either of us, please ask them or send them. And